are you doing today?
I am doing awesome. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Great.
We have a little cold from the America tour, but getting better every day, so yeah.
Well, that's good. All right, let's jump in. The new album, Raise Your Fist, was recently released, and that's doing well, so I wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you, thank you.
And you chose to showcase a more varied style than your last album, Fear No Evil, this time, and that gave us the ability to experience, I think, some more sides to your creativity. Was that a conscious decision when you went into writing the album, or did it kind of just evolve as you were doing it?
Actually, since it's album number 17, I always start and then I let it flow, and I always have some things I definitely want to do. I always think, okay, I definitely want to have a nice anthem, and I like as hard and fast as it can be, and as sensitive, so like definitely like fast and hard song, and and then there is a nice ballad. So these three things I always keep in the back of my mind, and then I let it go. And on this album, the first song we wrote was actually Hero for Ronnie James Dio, to say thank you and give honor and respect to him, and because we were all big Dio fans, and he was my favorite singer. What an inspiration, what a great person, and we had a great chance to tour together a couple of times, and then when I heard that Ronnie is that he left this, I was like, oh God, it was so heartbreaking, and I was talking to many fans, to many people, and then actually it was at night. I was in New York, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep now. And then shortly before I really fell into a deep sleep, this melody and the lyrics, everything came out actually as you can hear it. We finished the verses, but the chorus, it was there. And sometimes these things, when they just happen on their own, and then that was the first song for this record, and to me that was the most important song, and
sure.
And actually, and then usually, you start, and when it's done, and you think, wow, man, totally different from what we expected. But I never really plan it out. Here and there, you have an idea, and you always want to try to have the best record. That's with each record, it's like that's the goal you have, that this record is the best, and it's even better than the last one, and better than the first one. So,
right. Awesome.
And it's a great process, but it's always painful too.
Sure.
Because you want to have something great, and it's it's not so easy, and then when something magical comes out, it's like, that's the greatest feeling, because and then I could sometimes see the fans loving it as much as I do, or even more, and from experience I kind of know what fans would really like, so and I felt Raise Your Fist when we had this song. I thought, somehow it reminds me a little bit on an All We Are spirit, so I thought, this might be something for the fans, and we played it every night. The last concert, it was always one of the highlights. And
right.
Did you see the show, Terry, by the way?
Of course.
You did. Oh, good. Did you enjoy it a little bit?
Very much. More than a little bit.
Good. Oh, nice to hear.
So you had a couple guest stars on this album too. You had Lemmy come in and do the duet with you for It Still Hurts, and you and Lemmy kind of keep taking turns there. You do stuff with him, he does stuff with you. What was the inspiration to have Lemmy come in on this album?
Actually, I love Lemmy, and it's a great honor to work with him, and he was actually one of the first people I've met in the 80s. I think it was 84, 85, and I was in England, and there was a big party. The magazine was called Kerrang, and back then it was so important. So I was invited by the Kerrang people, and I said, well, can you perform a little bit? And because we were such a brand new band, it didn't fly over the whole band. They said, well, just a singer, and then you can maybe jam with a couple of musicians. And I said, okay, that's cool. So we did a couple of Judas Priest songs, and I did sound check, and I forgot, who it was. It was just some musicians. And then it was a couple of hours before the show and before the party should start, and I went around the corner and wanted to have something to drink or buy to eat. And there was a pub. It was my first time in a pub in England, and then I walked in, and Lemmy was there, and I thought, wow. And then he looked at me, and he was like kind of like cracking a smile. He said, "Are you Doro?" And I said, "Yeah, are you Lemmy?" He said, "Yes." And because I couldn't speak English at all at the time, and we were just hanging out, having some cigarettes, and and he had some whiskey cola, and of course I wouldn't want to say no, so we were laughing and drinking, and
right.
And then he said, "Hey, isn't it time for you to go and to do this show?" Because I told him, and I said, "Oh yeah." And then I walked out of the pub, and I was so drunk, and I thought, "Oh my God!" And then I had to hop on stage, and I couldn't remember the lyrics anymore, nothing. And then finally I was sitting on the drum riser and just holding my head in my hand.
Oh.
And then I was waiting till the band was finished. And then afterwards everybody was so upset, and I said, "Hey, Doro, what happened?" Like my new record company, everybody was there. And I said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, but I met Lemmy." And then everybody started laughing. I said, "Okay, yeah, now you're forgiven."
Yeah, it's all understood now.
And ever since that, we became great friends, and
right.
we were on tour a couple of times, and then one time we did 2 songs together on my album in 2000, calling the Wild album, and Lemmy wrote one beautiful song, was called Alone Again, and then we redid Love Me Forever, the Motorhead classic. And then while we were recording it, I saw like the really, really sensitive side of Lemmy. Like the song he wrote, Alone Again, is so soulful, and he sang it and played it on an acoustic guitar, and boy, it was like, it moved me to tears. It was so nice. And then when I wrote this song, It Still Hurts, I was doing a demo, and then I somehow, in the back of my mind, I thought, oh man, I can hear Lemmy singing on that song, and I asked the engineer to do a little rough mix, and I said, "Hey, can you sing the male part? I just want to hear it, how it sounds." And he did, and I thought, oh yes, that's something for Lemmy. And then I sent Lemmy the demo, and then he said, "Oh, I love it, let's do it." So and then we did it in LA. It was actually the day when I did the Eddie Trunk, the Dead Metal show in LA, and then at night we went to a studio in LA, and
nice.
Did Lemmy's vocals, and I loved it, how it came out. Oh, it's so nice, and it's a great honor to have Lemmy on.
Well, yeah. So, how did you get Gus G to come in and do a solo for Grab the Bull?
It was because of a mutual friend. There's a guy, his name is Alex Grull, and he's actually doing 2 bands, Leaves Eyes and Atrocity. He's the guy with the long hair.
Right.
And he was working with me on the song Grab the Bull, and then one time he called me, he said, "Hey, Doro, you will never believe I'm standing next to somebody." And I said, "Who is it?" He said, "Yeah, I'm here in Frankfurt on the music messe. It's a big music fair." And I said, "No, who?" He said, "Gus G." I said, "Oh, really?" And I love him, and I saw Firewind a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I was always a big fan of the guitar players of all all the years, you know,
Sure.
Magic. So, and he said, hey, should I ask him if he wants to maybe, you know, play a solo on the song? And yeah, and I said, oh, sure. And yeah, and then he asked him, and then, yeah, and I said, okay, you know, give me the song and let me hear it. And yeah, and then he said, oh yes, I dig the song. And then he did it, and actually, yeah, that was great. And yeah,
awesome.
I love his guitar playing. That's
yeah, he's amazing.
And having special guests is always something, yeah, really special.
Sure.
Yeah, it's the highlight of the record, I think, yeah.
Right. So once again, you had Jeffrey Gesi do your album cover. How did that partnership start, and how does he keep managing to capture the essence of you in his art?
I don't even know how that works, because, you know, with Jeffrey, it's like, I met him in '87, and we were working on the Triumph and Agony album. I don't even think that we had this title yet, but the record was in the making. Yeah, and I told my manager, it was a new manager in America, Alex was his name, and I said, Alex, I want the greatest painter for an album cover, and I was big time into fantasy art, like I love people like Vallejo, and then I said, how about, we call him, and then Alex said, hey, there's somebody I know, he is so great, you want to check him out? And I said, who is it? He said, well, Jeffrey Gesi, and he's an English guy, but he's living in France. And I said, oh yes. So I flew from New York to France, and I met Jeffrey, and he was a typical artist. He didn't say much, and I said, yeah, Jeffrey, I would like you to paint, like, a new album cover, and, the band is called Warlock, and the record is about this and this. And then he looked at me and said, yeah, and I said, you want to? He said, let me think about it. Yeah. I said, okay, and then I flew back to New York, and then I told my manager, I said, I don't know if the guy is, like, into it or interested. And he said, you see. And then I thought, probably nothing will happen. So a couple of months later, I got a phone call from my manager. He said, well, come to my office and have a look. And I said, what is it? He said, here's some sketches. And I said, really? And he said, yes, the guy did something. And then I went to the office, and there were like about, I don't know, maybe 12 sketches. Beautiful. And I had a hard time to even, decide which one was the best. And then, I picked the one you've seen on the Triumph and Agony album. And and then ever since we worked together almost on every album cover, as long as it's like a metal album. Sometimes I did a different album. For example, the classic Diamonds album is like with an orchestra, and
right.
Maybe more a classic black and white photo is more appropriate. But when I feel it's a metal album, like definitely painting by Jeffrey, and we get along great, and we always talk over the phone. I tell him, well, there's a new record in the making, and tell him a little bit what it's all about, and then he said, okay, I think about it. And then a couple of months later, I did something. I think, wow, how did he know? It's right on. And this time it was the same. And actually, when I saw the cover, and I thought, wow, I didn't even tell him that Raise Your Fist is like the working title, because usually till the very end you don't know what the title will be, and Raise Your Fist was always the work title throughout the whole. It took actually 2.5 years to do this album. And then I saw the glove, and me raising my fist.
Yeah.
Oh man, it works in magical ways too, and it's a great friendship, and
awesome.
He's wild and very. I love him. I love his paintings, and he was sometimes voted as best artist in France and stuff, and he's very, very funny. Like I think he knows all these. Like sometimes he paints some little demons, and sometimes very funny, and then I think, wow, I think he knows them personally.
Sure. Awesome. Okay, so earlier we were talking about the tribute song for Ronnie James Dio, Hero. And listening to that, during that song, that I started remembering the times that I'd seen Dio, playing, by himself or with Heaven and Hell. And so what is your favorite Ronnie James Dio memory?
Oh, yeah, my favorite, amongst many, many others. We were doing, my first tour with Ronnie James Dio was actually in 87. It was when we had the Triumph and Agony album out, and then we could support Dio, in 87. That was unbelievable. And then we had another chance to support him in America in 2000. Actually, it was with the Calling the Wild album. And we started in San Francisco, in the Fillmore Club, and the tour was long and great, and it got better and better and better. And then in the end, we were 3 gigs in Florida, and we became really great friends. And sometimes we were hanging out or having dinner and having many laughs, and it was really awesome. It was what a great tour. And then I was watching Ronnie's show every single night, and usually with my band members, we were standing in the side of the stage, and then one time I saw Ronnie was walking off the stage, and then I thought, wow, where is he going? And I turned around and I asked my guys, and I said, hey, where's Ronnie going? And then they were looking at me and and kind of like smiling at me. And then one guy said, you'll see. And I said, what do you mean? And then I saw Ronnie coming towards me, and he had a second microphone in his hand. That was why he left.
Uh-oh.
He had a second microphone from the monitor guy. And I said, oh no. And then Ronnie, he was totally a gentleman, and he said, okay, and he was holding my hand, and he said, well, come up and let's sing all the encores together. And I said, oh really? I said, hey, Ronnie, I don't know the lyrics and stuff. He said, oh, it doesn't matter, just let's have fun. And then we did from that night on, we sang all the encores together.
Awesome.
The whole Florida gigs, like the 3 ones, and it was so great. And unfortunately, there weren't any iPhones and no video camera.
Right.
Some photos and we put actually the photos in the 25th anniversary DVD, and it is dedicated to Ronnie James Dio, the whole DVD. And then you can see my face. It's like I'm smiling from ear to ear, like a little moon face, and
you can't get much happier than that. Yep.
That was one of my favorite moments in my life, singing together with Ronnie and hearing him sing, and and seeing the fans were so happy. Everybody had such a great time. Magical moments.
That's an awesome story. So what are your tour plans now for the rest of the year?
Say it again, Terry. I was
oh, sorry.
While you were asking.
What are your tour plans for the rest of this year?
We go to Russia next week, and actually the guys, they're coming over to Europe, and we do a little rehearsal, and then we go to the Ukraine, to Russia, and then we go to Scandinavia, and then we do another cruise ship. And this time was so great. It was my first time being on a cruise, the 70,000 tons of metal in January. It was when we kicked off the American tour. So we're doing one in Europe, and it's called Full Metal Cruise in May. And Russia, Scandinavia, then the Full Metal Cruise. And then we start all the summer festivals. And then I hope that we will come back and do the second leg of the tour in America, or at least some more gigs. We didn't tour in every state, like for example Texas we didn't do, and so we're thinking about doing more stuff there. And then we have some more in Europe, and I'm planning for the 30-year anniversary. I want to do a big celebration, and I want to do one time a great show in New York, in London, in Paris, and then the last show is 2 nights in Düsseldorf, Germany. It's my former hometown.
Right.
And the first time we celebrate big in Wacken open air. It's in August, but the indoor celebrations, and yeah, towards the end of the year. And yeah, and then I just did a movie, the second part of the movie, Anuk, The Path of the Warrior. We just filmed it. I just finished it actually before we started the America tour. And I have to do a little bit more music for the soundtrack. And yeah, and then that will come out in 2014 too. And yeah, and then because we toured here, it's so many places in America, I definitely want to do like the world premiere in
Right.
I think in New York and Minneapolis. Minneapolis, there's a great promoter, Nathan is his name, and he has like movie theaters, and I told him about the first movie, and now a couple of years later I said, well, the second movie's almost done, so I want to do something, and maybe do a combination with the gig, and
yeah.
But yeah, that's...
So busy.
It's good. I think everybody in the band, we always love to be on tour, and usually the tour, it's getting hard, and towards the end everybody says, oh man, it's hardcore, and we want to go home. As soon as you're home, and then you think, oh my god, I definitely want to go back out, and where is everybody? And it's like, it's being on tour is the best part of the whole thing. I love doing records, writing songs, doing everything, but being on stage and hearing the people sing, and
Right.
And being in the tour bus, living in the tour bus with everybody, it's the best. It's the best.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're out of time, so I'll go and let you go off to do your next one.
Good. Do you have everything you needed? If you say you have something more,
Okay.
We don't take the time so serious, so if you say, I have 1 or 2 more questions.
Right. No, we covered what we needed.
Oh, good, okay. Perfect.
All right, well, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Terry, and I hope to see you again in California.
Oh, yeah.
At another show. And,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it was great talking to you, and
You as well, thank you.
Thank you for supporting metal.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, take care.